the Divine Masculine, and if only life wasn't so hectic. I'll wait for a few people to get on. I'm having my European coffee with my swiveling phone. I've got it on charge. The battery is getting to the point where it's dying on me, so there you go. I'm hoping, otherwise I'll have to take the plug out. How are we all? Are we all wondering what the Divine Masculine's doing? It's quite warm here today. Morning, Antonella. Well, theoretically, it's not morning anymore. I mean, although I had my pajamas on for a very long time today because I was detoxifying, cleaning. Yay! Hi, Daniela. And I apologise in advance for those of you who have had to reschedule because I had a few issues this last week. My daughter had been assaulted at school. I'm also dealing with a change of school for her. Oh, is it raining? What else have I had happening? Yeah, lots and lots of hurdles, but it's been coming out of left field. So I'm trying to stay as organised as possible. So those of you I have rescheduled, thank you so much. I owe you big time. Yes, life does happen, so these things do sort of happen. But everyone has been asking me about the Divine Masculine video, so yes, I'm going to do it today. I also do want to do a crystal children video. Now that is for those of us who have children, or those of us who are directly dealing or observing situations going on with children at the moment, because energetically there is a lot going on with them at the moment, and they're very much having a spiritual transformation. And definitely as we're evolving and, you know, the full moons affect us and situations like that, very much we're seeing a very energetic shift with children at the moment. So I'm going to be tuning into that when I've got 5 seconds to actually do that video. But there will be all sorts of different videos. I almost have reached the point of being the 7,000 mark. Providing schedule doesn't go chaotic, I will, as per what I've said, adhere to the 1 hour you know, for free readings, so we can have a chat for those of you who are struggling and have some questions, and I'll try and tune into your given situation. So stay tuned. The channel has almost reached 7,000, and to pay it forward, I will be giving free readings away. So how has our energy been with our masculines, lovelies? Are there any masculines today watching? Any masculines watching? Hi, Natalie. So we have 23 people watching right now. For those of you who jump on, you can always, when it's pre-recorded after, you can go back and you can watch from the start. Okay, so the energy of the masculine. Okay, all of us, I think, if you're directly connected in a situation as being a twin, what you're going to find is the vibration you're receiving is a frequency. So if you're tuning into your masculine, or in general masculine energy, you're getting a few odd signals right now. And look, I do feel March is an interchange. It's very changeable. So although I've done the video for the twin, for the feminine, I'm feeling as though that is an energy reading connected to how to deal with situations. So yes, it's relevant, but it's also information that can be applied at any given time for you to directly deal with the energy of March and in general. So that is a standstill video on its own. But I do feel from that video there has been lots of shifts. There was an aspect inside the Divine Feminine video for March that is relevant, connected to masculine energy, but very much within the connection there is changes going on. Now on the 3D you may be experiencing changes. Some of you directly need to tune into what you're needing to do in the given situation, depending on where you are in your journey and how to directly relate with it. If your higher self is telling you to act in a certain way, you need to question whether you're coming from a place of ego or whether it's from a balanced place. Sometimes you do need to step back and actually ground yourself before you directly act. Now, masculine energy at the moment is very changeable. what you're seeing on the 3D or what you're dealing with on the 3D is definitely not cemented right now. There's still changes, there is adjustment. Many of the masculines are stepping into their power right now and realizing that something does need to change, and that's within their own personal lives, within their current situation. Definitely they're seeing a light in a situation, but they're looking at the 3D of their life right now, and I do feel a lot of the masculines are doing the work. They're doing what they need to do. It is triggering the feminines, although, you know, look at the feminine video, and I will do a combined one at the end of this video to give you some insight of what's going on. But I do feel energetically the masculine is directly dealing with maybe karmics, maybe children, maybe bills, balancing, budgets. In general, all those things that have become muddy, they're directly dealing with right now. And it is a very confusing time. Although they're very fatigued, they're working through that energy and realizing that in order for something to change, a dynamic has to change. But they're seeing the clarity in it. They still are holding on to an aspect of something and hoping that they can continue energetically with the situation they're directly dealing with. Now, I will pull a few cards, but I am feeling there is a direct situation, and every masculine's energy will be different of what that obstacle is. Now, with that obstacle, they are aware that they need to move beyond it. On the 3D of how they're going to do that, some of the energy they're still placing towards it, but some of it, it's like they're just watching. They're watching to see how it's going to transpire and how to directly act and react to the situation. It's like they're trying to get a confirmation from universe, I'm hearing, that they want to know for sure that it's not over till the fat lady sings. But it's more about them getting into their power, also seeing the 3D of things that need changing, and not being enabled to a point where they're having that power in their ball court. Does that make sense? As I have another puff of my cigarette. A big shout out to Jen. She was talking to me earlier and we couldn't speak properly, so I will talk to you soon. So what energies have we been going on with the masculines while I'm tuning a bit further? I definitely am feeling as though there's definite situations where either if you're directly seeing and communicating with your twin, you're feeling something strange. Something strange. Something's not quite right. Not quite right. You can't put your finger on it, but you're like, I'm just reading the comments if anyone's wondering what I'm doing. For many of the masculines, I feel as though financially there has been blocks and burdens. For many of them, it may be they're paying bills or funds have been depleted, so they're having to be very creative about how they're directly dealing with situations. They're stuck in an aspect of ego as well, because they think directly, although they've got a problem, they're looking at the problem and they're saying, yes, but X, Y, and Z, I need money so that I'm okay. So they feel their power is not balanced, that their given situation, they are aware that it's their responsibility. They are trying to use creative situations to have that energy within their life so that they're and again, it is connected to ego, because they're feeling they created a mess or they have an obligation and that they're adhering to that aspect of that obligation, but some of it is just not quite balanced. So anything at a financial level, they're looking at it on the 3D of, you know, how they can better their career. Some of them are actually moving into different careers or feeling that maybe energetically they're just going with the motion with it at the moment. And biding their time connected to a decision they're going to make. But career and money, there is a link connected to that, which is being paused at the moment, but they are visually still processing and assessing that situation. Now, on the 3D of location, many of them are aware also at a location-related issue. They're still questioning that, but again, they're pausing that for some reason. And that is an aspect of them feeling they have no power, but they are using the power. They're using the power of manifestation and problem solving internally to look at the 3D of it, although from the 5D they do know that something of that aspect needs to change. Connected to karmic, they're also trying to keep a balance, and I'm hearing finance. And very frustrating dynamics going on there. No. It looks like a message is coming up and then it just disappears. So I'm sort of like, what now? Let's pull some cards and see what we're saying. But I very much am feeling as though many of them are looking at their life and saying something's not quite fitting right. They're trying to go with the flow. They're being very optimistic. And again, location. I keep seeing location and home being a subject or an area they're directly dealing with. They do know something's got to end. They are going to become more open. For those of you, and there's, as I said, there's 3 waves of twins coming through. So I am going to do 3 sets. I'm going to do 3 pullings of the cards. The ones that are further back that have had that contact, and it doesn't mean to say that spiritually speaking you can't go from from A to Z in one hit. Very much the key is, you know, getting to the grit of it so that you can do that movement. But there are 3 waves of twins. The ones who are in the initial stage, who have met each other and having that aspect of separation. Now, for some of you, you might be in between the first wave of twins and, you know, the very end where you're bouncing back and forward energetically. The middle ones are closer, but that's not to say that heavy work isn't done for those ready to reach union or in an aspect of union, working with what's going on right now. This also will be relevant to men. Now, when I say men, masculine energy, it's not dictatorial to the sex. I had a download the other day, and it was in reference to, at the beginning stage of a twin journey, what you'll find is the masculine or the runner, you know, their energy is different, right? And the feminines are the chasers. After that dynamic changes, it slows down and the reconnection comes because you're energetically ready to do more work. Depending, again, like I said, where you are in the cycle or the journey, so to speak. The energy has shifted. It's not like that anymore. Many of the feminines are being triggered into an aspect of masculine energy. So the wave of twins that have had that connection and the masculine has run away, you very much do need to step into your power and own an aspect of the masculine energy. And that'll be situations dealing with letting the masculine do the work they're needing to do and coming to that realization and actually letting that go. And that can be very difficult. But the trigger point is about you stepping into your power and knowing financially you can do the financial work, you can do the emotional healing connected to your past. But the energy for many has swapped where the feminines have owned an aspect of the masculine energy. That is positive because it's you doing the internal work yourself, and the masculines were then forced to stop. And that stopping point was not there to punish them. It was there to give them, you know, an aspect of a time to meditate without running away. Now, meditating without running away means all of a sudden all these responsibilities were on their plate, and many feminines will be looking at them thinking it's really unfair that they're living in that energy, or it's really unfair they're stuck in a karmic situation or stuck with burdens. But that was what needed to happen to stop them running, because they have, their energy field has stopped where that pause wasn't about them being responsible. It was about giving them an opportunity to do some soul healing. So that has got them there to do that soul healing. Although, to connect the union, you need the balance of masculine and feminine energy, where it's waving, where you're a singular individual energy, where you hold the masculine and the feminine energy to have that balance of the scales, if that makes sense. So I do feel the masculine at the moment had, to a degree, gained an aspect of feminine energy to have the compassion, to emotionally get those trigger points to come into their soul. So they were looking at a situation, perhaps from the feminine's point of view, to give them an aspect of purging going on. Also to help them unblock situations. But now the energy has been triggered where any person in their life that had karmically being enabling, and this can be twin as well, enabling that energy is actually taking the masculine's power away. So to step back is the way to deal with it, to let them problem solve and deal with their current situation. Now, the first card coming at the moment is death, and that does mean that they're dealing with an ending in their life and a change. And so if you hear someone screaming, it's my mum because she's coming for a coffee. Antonella, my mother's coming. My mum's probably watching this thinking, you cheeky bitch. Okay, so there's an ending. There's something that they know has to end and change. This can be an end of running. It can be an end of the way that they're looking at a situation. But some sense of ending is coming. They're very focused on love. But they also do know that in their life they're wanting this. I do feel they're gaining clarity connected to who they do love and who they're wanting. They are also focused on money and finances and movement and how they're going to gain this. And they're wanting to be, it may be that their energy is shifting and they're assessing those areas in their life, that something needs to end in order for them to have a love life, in order for them to have finances. Now, a loved one that's passed over is guiding them, but this is actually triggering them. This is helping them meditate. And it may be that before, a person who was supposed to be there at a mature level within their life was not there, and that triggered them to retreat. But now it's like they're making up for that person's energy. Now, this can be male or female energy, and that's what's coming through to me. So for the masculine, it may be that a parent figure was not there. And that's at a 3D level or a spiritual level where they're passed over. And initially, they were running. They were running due to this, but then their energy did a 360, and they didn't want to be like the energy of this person in some shape or form, or they didn't want to run from the aspect of that death. And now they're in a very, I can't say a calm energy, they're in an area that is making them pause to process that aspect of the passing and the relationship they had with this given person. They are dealing with codependency in a sense of removing that and aware that that is an issue at the moment. But they're also feeling as though they have not been, there's no consistency in their life, and they're realising that is giving them clarity. So it may be that a passed over loved one is coming in through their dreams to give them downloads, to give them information that they're processing on, perhaps what maybe that parent figure would have thought, and that's for good or bad, you know, how their energy would have been thinking. It's really strange because I can see a light coming down of, you know, what their opinion of the situation would have been and what their feelings were towards this parent figure or loved one who was very prominent in their life. And it doesn't have to be a DNA parent. For many of us, you know, if you were the black sheep and you're a twin, you may have had a surrogate parent, so to speak, and that can be I can't say a karmic. Energetically, anyone who lacks in your life will then be morphed into a new person where that person fits the bill, and you get this connection with that person that perhaps it didn't feel, you know, through another person, so to speak. But they're directly looking now in a very clear point of view of where the lack of connection is going on and the consistency in their life. They're going to have some communication connected to this. So many of them are going to want to speak about it and directly deal with what is going on with this connection. And I don't know why no messages are coming up. Antonella, can you chuck a message up to see if my internet's working, please? I'm pausing. I'm trying to meditate on this card. Okay, you're really questioning whether you should continue on with this journey, and that's for the feminines. So masculines, if you're cross-watching, which is your video, so you may be watching, the feminines are very confused. They might be processing what was there before and whether or not this is safe, and I will pull clarifiers on this, but it feels as though they're really confused about it, and they're wondering why that energy was like that, and if they should invest further, or if they're enabling to a degree, and if this is a very relevant energy moving forward. So there's a bit of confusion going on. Now, it's not that they're depressed, and I'm not saying they're not, feminines, but you're trying to have a very hard look at it without rose-coloured glasses. You're trying to avoid disaster, so you're treading very carefully. Some of you are being probably more open and verbal. Now, the masculine. They're seeing some things aren't coming together the way they wanted it to, and March is a very challenging energy to actually deal with for them personally and for us as a whole. There can be a lot of things coming at left field. They're not emotional about it, but they can be, but it feels they're just, again, they're taking the rose-coloured glasses off. Now, a trigger point might have come from feminines to actually do this, to help them see what's going on. And they do feel they're a slave to a situation, and they're not wanting to be that way. I do feel a point of meditation. Okay. Now, something that ends for the masculine is where there is no room. They don't have room. There's no movement in a situation, so they're needing to end something in their life. Now, this feels directly connected to what they're physically doing right now. Something in it needs to change, and that can be just in a flowing way, or in a, what's the word? In a way to directly deal with the current energy. The way they were dealing with it is not working, and it needs to be changed again. This this can be that they're physically seeing that things aren't fitting correctly, and they're needing to make room for the new. And whatever that be, that's what they're having to do. Now, connected to love, and then wanting to be more connected and more focused on that area. They're also concerned that they want to come into the connection with money. So there is money-related situations going on for them. Now, also connected to fortune, this is a second confirmation. They got the fortune card, where they know they can manifest this, they can co-create it. It's about going back to work and doing the hard yards. Now, anything in their life that isn't working, they're aware they're going to have to put a lot of hard work in, and they're trying to keep themselves grounded in order to do that. Now, with this person that has crossed over, male or female, an energy that was very relevant and important to them, or a trigger point, there is a change connected to the way they're going to visually see this, and on the 3D of how they're going to visually see their life. Now, with the lack of consistency, it's directly linked to the fact that they're wanting a reunion. But I feel this is the energy within the 3D of what they're visually seeing. Now, the conversation is going to be had. Many of you are... How do I put this? I'm going to pull a clarifier. Okay, so there is going to be some sense of communication. This can be directly with feminine. It can be with friends. But they've got to be super careful who they trust, because there is an aspect of a falseness. So if directly your twin is speaking to you and they're saying something, what you've got to understand is don't jump the gun. Because it might be a trigger point of the way they're communicating. Come back to it after. Know know the true and know the trigger point, if you know what I mean. So it may be that someone's giving them false advice, or they've got false hope connected to something and they're optimistic, but on the 3D maybe they do deep down know that something's not fitting correctly and it is going to have to change in some shape or form. Feminines. For the masculines, if you guys want to know, this is the energy of what's coming through for them. They're wondering what you're wanting from them. They're also thinking about the past. They have an aspect of a trigger going on. I don't think they're moving anywhere. Some of them do want to retreat and say, you know what, I'm really done with this journey, but I think energetically, you know, they will have to deal with the emotion. But some feminines are going through this energy, and it's because they think you don't want to move this situation through to the next level. For some, it might just be a crowning energy coming in. Now, with the emotions maybe being a bit more, you know, grounded in the way you're looking at it, a bit more assertive and dominant or triggered, there may be a lack of communication as an issue. That is a trigger point. Now, avoiding disaster for the feminines means on the 3D they're having to deal with some situations at the moment that aren't love related. So it feels the disaster they're trying to avoid is not directly connected to the relationship. It's more connected to their 3D of their life. And it's very interesting because both of you, feminines and masculines, do have something that you're needing to directly look at. And the way I did the videos this month was very much singular energy of focusing on you. And that is the way to make it through this month, is very much, yes, things are changing. Move forward, move back. Process, move forward, move back. You need to do the work that way at the moment because it is a very singular energy. And it's not saying there's breakups or it's no reunions or anything to that degree. Very much the energies are, your energy, you're both doing the same thing. You have an area you need to directly deal with right now, feminines, and masculines do as well. And pushing that isn't making it come forward any quicker. It's mainly putting pressure on it. So try and keep yourself as grounded as possible and understand that this is a process, which is really hard to do. Now, something that the masculines are feeling isn't coming together. They're having to really think on it and meditate, and they're processing that. They're problem solving. You need to give them the room in order to do that. Now, where you might be seeing them to be quite grounded and maybe a bit cold, it's because they're processing. They're not like, how do I put it? Their energy might be showing one thing, but what's going on inside is very much they're processing, and they're trying to avoid despair. They're trying to avoid hurting anyone, hurting themselves. So it's a very, very heavy energy, and I do feel a lot of feminines have their base chakra activated at the moment. And you're picking up on masculine energy. Masculine's very triggered. It can be directly connected to family and their soul purpose of their soul path of how this is going to come about. But they are wanting to take this connection to the next level. They're also very traditional in the way they're wanting something to come about, and they're trying to follow it through in a level of a traditional valued aspect, if that makes sense. They don't want to be a slave to this situation, and they're trying to have faith to take it to this next level with you guys. I'm going to pause and I will come back because my mother has turned up, so I will be back in a moment.